this is where you get obsessed again with your business. You know how you used to feel so fired up and juiced and lit up about your business, about your company, about your freaking future, and you used to feel like giddy, like a freaking Christmas tree. You were bursting with excitement about your business. And then the reason you're probably here is that you feel like you lost that spark and you just deeply, deeply crave to get that fire back, to be passionate again, to genuinely love what you do again, and to be giddy about what's to come and what you're here to create. And look, by the way, you're gonna find out about my story. And you might be even a little bit triggered seeing me this fired up and giddy and alive about my business, because I know that for me, when I was feeling kind of flat and numb and I'd lost that fire, people like me sometimes would trigger me because I was like, oh, I used to be like her. Like I used to be so obsessed and hungry and driven, but not just because it was like a business, but because it was your calling. It was your freaking passion. It was more than just a transaction in a company. It was your freaking vocation. It was what you loved. It brought you life. Guys, this is how I am all the time, okay, these days. And I wasn't always like that, and we're gonna talk about that, but this is where I'm at right now. So let's get started. Reignite how to become obsessed with your business again. Alive, giddy, like a freaking Christmas tree, like you could cry, you're so excited. My promise to you, and I really freaking mean this, you will know what caused your freaking obsession and your passion and your fire to fade. And you will also freaking know what to do to reignite your fire. You know, when you used to be like fired up about your business and used to be giddy and used to be excited and used to be pumped about it, maybe you're thinking to yourself, like, maybe that was just like a honeymoon phase. And maybe I need to just get over myself and realize that that used to be a thing, but now maybe it's not. I was almost convincing myself of this back in the day, and I can't wait to like break this limiting belief of yours. So no, you absolutely can get your fire back. I don't care who you are. If you've experienced fire, excitement in your business before, you can absolutely get that back. And I believe that with every cell of my body. I don't care who you are. If you've been on fire before in your business, you can get it freaking back. So you're not crazy, and you don't need a new business or a new industry. Now, sure, there are some people who might change businesses or change industries, and that might be you. But more often than not, it's just that you need to reconnect with your core values, with what lit you up in the first place, and with why you used to be freaking obsessed with this mission, this calling, and this business of yours. So I'm going to walk you through my story. Back in 2014, so yes, I've been in business for over 10 years in this particular coaching business. I left my finance job at Bloomberg in London. And like a lot of you, probably, I discovered what was like my obsession, my passion, my calling. I basically discovered what coaching was. So for me, that was coaching. For you, it might be fitness. For you, it might be health. For you, it might be finance. I flew off to Bali. I wrote my first book in Bali. I went and hosted in-person masterminds and workshops in New York and in LA and in London. And I was just like having the time of my life. Like I was also traveling on my own. I was in Costa Rica and I was in the Maldives. I was in the south of Italy doing a yoga retreat. Like I was just like loving life. That is how I felt in 2014. And I felt that way in 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017. And then what happened? 2018. Certain events happened in my business and in my like for example, I was seeing all these results. Clients were getting amazing results. I had like over 100 clients in a membership. I was running in-person workshops. I was doing loads of one-on-one group coaching programs, masterminds, you name it. But then there were a couple of clients, maybe two or three out of like 100, who were not seeing the results as fast as I wanted them to see. And you know what happened? Unconsciously, and I didn't realize that this was happening, I kind of manufactured this story in my head that if two or three people out of 100 are not seeing the level of results that I want them to get, then I don't really deserve to be doing this work. And maybe I should just bow out and other coaches should just take the lead. And I, bit by bit, without realizing it, gradually, I started losing my fire. So for you, and we're going to go deeper into this for you, maybe it wasn't the way that I had it, but maybe it's that maybe you made a mistake, or maybe you made a couple of mistakes, or maybe something happened in your personal life. Even right now, you're starting to see, you know what? I think looking back, I made X mistake, or this and this happened with a client, Or actually, when I broke up with my partner, what was it? What did you tell yourself that it meant about you? Because what I told myself was, I must not be very good at this, or I'm obviously not good enough. So I no longer felt in alignment. Months kept going. And then before I knew it, I was like, I'm so disconnected. I feel so flat. I don't feel connected to my purpose. I don't feel connected to my clients. I don't feel connected to my future impact. I don't feel connected to my future. Like, what am I even doing this for? Do I even matter? Does this even matter? If I can't get like 100%, I told you guys about the 2 or 3 clients I have 100, like, if then, like, what's the point? And you know what I did? I was making 6 figures every year in my business. So years 2, 3, and 4, I was making 6 figures in my business. I burned the entire thing to the ground. I was then living location free with my husband in Bali. We then moved to Australia and I felt numb. I should have felt like $1 million. Well, yeah, I should have felt like $1 billion. Like I was living in Bali with my husband, who I freaking adore, still adore, like just like having what you would think is like the time of your life. But I felt so flat and deflated and confused and lost. Like, where did my freaking fire go? Like, where did that version of me go? Have you ever felt that way? Maybe that's how you feel right now. Like, you're just like, yeah. And I felt confused. Now, what happened is that I spent the next, like 4 years investing in coaching, getting mentorship, joining programs, trying to understand like what happened. And it took me years to understand what happened. And it was because I tied up these narratives, these stories, these beliefs together. And then it made me feel like I wasn't good enough to do this work. Secret number one, it's not the business, it's the disconnect. So I told myself, maybe I'm just not in the right business. Maybe this just isn't the right industry. And I wish somebody had told me that, like, yeah, there's a small chance of that, but realistically, it's more likely that you are no longer connected to why you started it in the first place. Close your eyes, and I want you to go back in time. Go back in time to when you remember feeling fired up in your business. Remember that time when you were so obsessed, lit up, excited, and freaking giddy. And I want you, with your eyes still closed, to notice what was happening back then. What did you believe about your business back then? What did you believe that you could freaking do for other people? How you could serve, how you could contribute, how your business would impact lives, impact other human beings. What did you believe you could change in the world? What did you believe you were here to freaking do? Like, even I know, I understand that maybe you're like, oh, I'm still feeling stuck. I'm still feeling flat. Maybe you feel like crying, or maybe you feel like yelling at me because you're angry. Maybe you feel triggered, all the things. I really hear you because I've been there. I've really promised I've been there. I've been so flat. I felt so numb. I felt so disconnected. And someone like me would have triggered me. At the same time, create a bit of space to actually do this, to still do this exercise. Despite any feelings of doubt, of insecurity, of questioning that you have, this is the time to dive into it. This is your space. So now, this is so key. What happened? What was the event or series of events that caused you to lose that obsession? What was the event, or what were the events that happened that caused you to no longer believe that? Isn't it interesting, by the way, and that's going to be in the next slide, isn't it interesting how, like, data, which is just objective facts, happen, and then we make it mean something more than that, right? Like when those 3 people didn't get results for me, I don't know what it was 2 or 3 people. And it was like out of like 100 who were getting amazing results. But I was like so focused on those 2 or 3 people who were not getting the level of results I wanted them to in the timeline that I wanted them to. I made that mean that I was not good enough at what I did. And so there's no point. It's not about the event. It's not about the data. Those are objective facts. It's what we make those facts mean. I made it mean I'm not good enough to do this. I'm going to burn my business to the ground. You make it mean something about you, and then you lose your fire. You lose your energy. You lose your feeling of certainty. You used to feel so certain and so hungry, so driven, so obsessed. And then that fizzles because of A, B, and C. And that story that impacts how you show up in the world, how you feel in the world, and that impacts the results you get. So secret number 3, your soul was talking at the time and still is to this day. And if you don't like the word soul, you can like inverse it for heart. Your heart was talking to you, or your gut is still talking to you. It's just that you stopped listening to your heart. I felt so angry with my soul. I felt so angry with my heart for even leading me to my passion, my calling, and my business in the first place. But I was like, you know what? That high achiever in me was like, I need to help everyone. And if I can't help everyone, I'm out. And so I was angry with my soul for even leading me down this path in the first place. So I was like, I'm not listening to you anymore because it got me to feel so much pain, so much suffering. I lost my entire dream, my entire vision. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just head down, be extra realistic, overly cautious, overly careful. I'm gonna play it very effing small. I should just do what my neighbors are doing and what everyone around me seems to do, which is basically live a very ordinary life. So many people are not living up to their freaking potential. So many people have a dream inside of them, a vision, a desire. They're not living into it. And I was like, you know what? That's what I'm gonna do. I'll avoid every mistake I can possibly make. I won't ruffle any feathers. And that way I can tiptoe my way to death and I will be bruise free at death. When I was over $40,000 in debt, I was so ashamed. I didn't tell my husband. We'd been together for years and years. We were married. We were gonna have children together. I didn't tell him. I felt so much pain and shame and suffering that I stopped listening to my heart. Secret number 4, the fired up version of you never freaking left. You're just not letting her take the freaking reins. So close your eyes. I want you to imagine, visualize, picture the fired up version of you, the one who freaking was connected with her soul. Even if it doesn't exist in this universe, imagine that you are in a parallel universe and there's the twin of you. And with your eyes still closed, imagine your twin who's in a parallel universe is the most lit up, literally juiced, charged, electric, fired up, unleashed version of you. She is in her power. She is excited. She's pumped. She's buzzing. She's bursting with excitement. Literally see her and feel into her now. Imagine that you are there with her. You have become her. Imagine that you are now the most vibrant, alive, fired up version of you. With your eyes still closed, double the feeling of energy in your body. Feel it coursing through your entire body. With your eyes still closed, literally see the version of you that is the most giddy, the most excited, the most juiced, who feels hope, who believes in people, who believes that what she can do matters and that other people's lives do matter. Exponentially multiply the energy in your body so that you are the most buzzing you have literally ever been. You are bursting electricity. You're literally charging. You can feel it through your cells, through your bones, through your heart. You can literally feel the excitement, the energy, the obsession. And you're literally the most lit up version of you. See it with your eyes so close. Feel it in your entire body. Feel what it feels like. Taste what it tastes like to be her. Feel into it with every piece of you, with every soul of you, with every part of you, and see how she lives in her life. See how she leads in her business. Look at how she moves. Feel how she moves. Feel the speed in which she moves. And with your eyes still closed, feel what she would be feeling and living and embodying right now in your day-to-day. Now, when you're ready, open your eyes. What was different about her? How does she move differently? How does she feel different? How does she show up differently? How does she lead differently in her business? The fact that you can see her, the fact that you could envision her in that visualization, even if it's like a blurry image, even if it's just a feeling, even if it's just an experience, that suggests that she is still here now within you now. Does that make sense? That means that she never left. It's just that you kind of shut her out. And we know why now, right? Because certain events happened and it made you feel certain things. And maybe you felt shame. Maybe you felt pain. Maybe you felt embarrassed or inadequate, insecure. So it's normal that you did that. It's normal that you kind of shut out your soul, that you kind of disconnected yourself from your heart, from the most lit up version of you, because maybe you got scared and you let your ego rule the show rather than your soul. And actually, it's completely normal. Like, how could a human not do that when we're scared? It's normal. You got scared, you got worried, you got overly cautious. Like, it's okay. It's safe. But now you know because you just experienced it through that visualization that the version of you that is so fired up and lit up, she's still freaking here. Your soul wants to come out and be like, girl, I got this. I'm gonna take the lead from now. You can take a backseat, fear, and my ego. You can take a backseat. I'm gonna freaking run the show again because that was way more fun. And I'm not here to tiptoe my way to death to avoid making any mistakes. I mean, you tell me. But for me, when I experienced this, I was like, I want to get to the end of my life and be like, holy mother, that was an adventure. Oh my gosh, I felt so lit up and giddy. Oh my God, I impacted millions and millions of lives. I served like, and I gave every ounce of me and every ounce of my potential and my soul. I lived fired up. I lived courageously. I had experiences and stories and crazy wild adventures and literally taking leaps of faith and trusting my soul and leading with my heart and actually showing up for life, not just sitting back and being like, ah, I'm just kind of passively sitting here. Like, no, thank you. That is not how I want to live my life. Now you see what's really going on. You see what was lost, you felt the shift, and this is the only question. Do you want to stay where you've been? Do you want to stay stuck? Do you want to stay flat? Do you want to stay numb? Do you want to stay not obsessed with your business? Do you want to stay in your pattern? Do you want to stay stuck? Or do you want to reignite, fully unleash, go wild, and have the time of your freaking life running your business and making the effing impact that you were meant to make in the freaking world?